Right, so morning everybody. Welcome to the next client interview, talking to clients how COVID has impacted their business, their industry, the learnings we've had from that, etc., etc. So this morning, without further ado, welcome to Paul Richards from Tier 1. Morning, Paul.
Morning, how are you?
I'm great, how are you?
Yeah, very well, thank you.
Perfect. So to start us off with, why don't you tell us a little bit more about you and the business? Give us a bit of background where you guys have come from.
So I'm Paul, I'm the Managing Director of Tier 1 IT. So we were previously known as CSMB and have been for over 23 years now.
Wow.
And we rebranded at the beginning of April to coincide with my business purchase nearly 4 years ago.
Okay.
So we provide IT services to businesses of all shapes and sizes around the UK. We have a team of 17 staff members, engineers, account managers, marketing, who are based in Fleet, but mainly work around London and surrounding areas looking after our clients. We have our own cloud, similar to Azure. We look after any client, whether they're on PC, Macs, one user, all the way up to our largest client is 4,500 users. So pretty widespread.
Pretty widespread. So I'm instantly going to pick up on something you said. You rebranded the 1st of April.
Yes.
That was always on the plan, right?
Yeah, it was always on the plan. Unfortunately, COVID hit on the 23rd, I think it was. But everything was in place. We'd moved billing systems. We'd done all the logos. We'd done all the signatures, the email addresses and everything else, and told our clients. So yeah, we had to rebrand on the 1st of April.
In the midst of lockdown.
In the midst of lockdown, which, to be fair, was a good thing. But some people took it as a bad thing. They were just wondering whether we changed companies or there was something wrong. But there was nothing ever wrong. It was just, it's taken me 4 years to think of a name, think of a rebrand, and get pieces in place of the puzzle so that we can rebrand.
Perfect. Like the fact that you still continued it instead of pausing it all the way through, which would have been another potential option, right?
Yeah, it would have been a potential option. I just think because notifications went out to clients and suppliers to say that we're rebranding as of the 1st of April, it gave a bit of positivity to the staff members as well as the clients and suppliers that were still busy, were still going strong. So we had to continue with it. It's been a soft launch. We were going to launch with a big party, potentially a James Bond theme in London. So it has been just a soft launch at the moment. When COVID is released and relaxed, we will have a bigger launch, a bigger party, and of course Nell will be invited.
Obviously. Hello, I'd be first on the list, surely.
That's it.
Okay, that's the right answer. So backtracking a couple of months now, at what point did you really start understanding that something commercially was going to happen around all of this? What were sort of the first indicators for you guys?
So the first indicators would have been around December, January time when China got hit and everyone locked their borders or something along those lines in China. So we were finding that supplies of computers and hardware and peripherals were going up in price. They're 10-15% more expensive. So, and when talking to our suppliers, they were saying, well, basically that's because we've got limited stock. It's coming from China.
Yeah.
The stock that we have got is costing more because it's all going to be, I guess, disinfected, so to speak. And that's when we actually started putting plans together to go, oh, actually, when is this going to hit the UK? And then Italy hit, and we've got a few friends and colleagues, not colleagues, but suppliers out in Italy, and they were on lockdown 2 or 3 weeks before we were. So it kind of knew that we were going to hit home at some point. How drastic it was going to be, I don't think anyone could have ever imagined that. But we knew something was going to happen. We were going to be in lockdown, and we had to deal with it.
So when you sort of start seeing that, obviously it's got an impact on your business already so early on, way before maybe anyone else started realizing that something might be coming in this kind of direction. You see what's going on in Italy. Do you at that stage already go, oh, we are going to have to make some changes here? Or did you kind of just keep an eye on it, but decided to hold back?
Internal meetings, we had talks about working from home and getting the engineers, how would they continue service for tier one.
Yeah.
Externally, we were buying in stock because, well, we didn't imagine the rate of stock how fast that would go. We ended up selling nearly 40 laptops in a week.
Wow.
But we did buy some in just because there was a good deal at the time, and we knew we could sell those over the year, for instance.
Yeah.
We didn't realize we were going to sell them all in 1 week. So yeah, we had internal discussions. As an IT provider, we've got a lot of remote systems set up already. And looking at our clients, actually, there was probably only 5% that needed a working from home solution, whereas all the others are built with that in mind. So they all had VPNs, they all had terminal servers, just ways of connecting into the office. The reason why we sold 40 odd laptops is due to people using their own personal laptops, and they didn't want to use them. The companies that we look after decided to supply them with laptops, and we set them all up and made them secure so that, like a lot of clients, the laptops that they've got at home are now being used for the kids at school.
Yeah.
So for them to continue working is it required a new laptop, and over the first couple of weeks after the 23rd, all it was increasing resources, increasing licensing count, whereas we've maybe envisaged 10-15% of remote workers. It's now 100% of remote workers. So we just had to up licenses, a little bit of resource. But that's one of the good things about having your own data center and where our clients are located, is that we can just do that fairly quickly. It took us a couple of weeks for all our clients to be up and running efficiently with resources and licensing.
Yeah. So you were super busy in those first couple of weeks around that lockdown period, because your clients had to shift to a working from home scenario.
Yeah.
How did your team deal with having to work from home? Because you guys had recently moved into a new office. You work with a really young team. It's a really energetic, enthusiastic kind of bunch in the office. So how did they adapt to working from home?
The first few weeks I'd say the first month, maybe 2 months, were actually really, really good. They liked working from home. Everyone, I think because we're really, really busy, people didn't really think about it. People were putting in longer hours because if they finished at 5 or 6, they were staying on the phones till 1:15, 1:30, which is really good. And then they would clock off, because if they were here in the office till 6, then they wouldn't get home till 6:30 anyway. So it was just normal. It became normality for them. After the first couple of months, we started seeing a decline in tickets, because everyone was either furloughed or working from home, and that was efficient. People's questions were low, so they weren't having a huge amount of issues. I assume, without actually knowing, that not a lot of people were working properly from home, inverted commas, a full 8 hours, so to speak. So tickets went down. Then the engineers, they were just getting on with project work. So it was fairly good for the first couple of months.
What happened after the first couple of months?
So
because you've said that twice now, so that kind of means something's coming, right?
Yeah. So after the first couple of months, I think where people live at home or live with their parents still, it became a little challenging for them, especially for the people who live at home. They haven't seen anyone for 8 weeks. During this time, we were doing weekly Zoom calls on a Friday afternoon, just a bit of banter, really. A couple of beers over Zoom, and we did do an online casino night,
Nice.
where we played poker for a while. Well, actually, several hours into the Saturday.
Of course.
But that was good, and it brought the team back together. But after the first couple of months, I think that's when the mental issues, not saying that the engineers have mental issues, but the mental thoughts, etc., were going through. People were starting getting a little bit lethargic, lazy. But it just took us a little bit of a boost. We saw this coming through the stats that we run each week, and the tickets were going down, and the amount of response rates were going down. So the service desk manager here started implementing pretty much by daily telephone calls and Zoom calls with everyone, just to give them a little bit of boost. You see me, I see you.
Yeah.
The office is large enough to house 4 or 5 people quite easily, especially with the big social distancing measures that were first in place. So we brought a few people back in 2 or 3 days a week. I've always been in the office because my kids at home. I don't have a working environment at home without the kids, but we were able to, because I only live a few minutes away from the office, come into the office, do my day's work, and then go home at a suitable time, and look after the kids, really. So yeah, but everyone is, well, most people are now back in the office. We are social distancing in the office, and we've got several banks of desks where there's 1, maybe 2 people. We've opened up our boardroom for eating and lunch and bits and pieces like that. We've got staggered entry times so that people who do come in, they're not starting all at 8 or all at 9. They're starting 15, 20-minute increments so that they can go into the lift one at a time. They can walk up the stairs one at a time. They can go for their breaks one at a time, etc. So
nice.
It's
so it was today the first day that they're all back in the office?
No, last Monday was
week.
the first day, and then there were a few teething issues, as such as I think anyone will have when they go back into the office. But we've got hand sanitizers all over the place, gloves if they want to wear them. They're all set at their own desks, so the desks are clean each evening with antibacterial hand sanitizer, antibacterial wipes, etc. So everything is clean. Clean. I think it's the cleanest the office has ever been.
What kind of teething issues did you have last week with the team coming back?
It's people going into their natural, oh, can you help me with this, and leaning over someone's shoulder, and we just had to remind them that there are 2-meter rules in place. You can have a conversation and pick up the phone, or stand far away. We've actually been going out to site as well. So one of our largest clients, we've been doing a return to work desk movement, which required 3 or 4 guys on site all of last week. And again, those social distancing measures had to be in place. The clients weren't there at all, so we were just told what to do and how to do it, and we got on with the job. I've been out to site a couple of times during the lockdown, and again, we just wear masks, gloves, hand sanitizer all over the place, just to protect ourselves as well as our clients. Some of them are young, some of them are old, and I believe the older, more vulnerable in most circumstances.
How do you, actually no, I'm going somewhere else with that first. What kind of wins have you seen for your business through this?
I've seen that for a short period of time we can work from home, and a few people have said previously in years gone by, oh, can I work from home this morning and have the afternoon off? And we've always said no, because engineers previously haven't been able to work from home. There wasn't any work being done. I wouldn't say any work being done, not as efficiently as normal. So we normally got them into the office, and then they would go home if they had half a day, etc., or they would come in after the half a day. It does show actually that most engineers can actually work from home, and some of them are really, really good and efficient. Perfect. And nothing has actually changed. We've got a couple of guys that have got people staying with them who've got medical issues, so they're not back in the office at the moment. And they're always available over Teams or Zoom, and we can just ring them up and we'll have a face-to-face conversation, so to speak, just not physically in the office. So I think going forward, especially with projects and some of the team, we will implement a working from home solution, maybe as a bonus, really. Work from home on a Friday, or work from home during the week, etc. If you've got a large project on that you need to sit down and not be disturbed.
Okay.
That'll be one of the biggest
Yeah, yeah.
benefits.
So from a team perspective, actually, it's been quite nice because they've been forced into working from home, showing you that actually can be done
Hmm.
for them at least. That's a massive bonus. From a business perspective, you've not your clients have continued to work throughout all this, so you've not
Yeah,
seen a drop in clients through
we've
any of this.
we've not seen a drop in clients as yet. I've been speaking to a few clients, and they've been looking at either removing their office or
Okay.
shrinking their office. So one client, for instance, is in a central London office. He said he was paying something like 60,000-70,000 a year for a 20-person office. They're actually
Yeah.
working from home quite efficiently. And he's been talking to me about a smaller office, so maybe a 4-person office, because I don't think you'd ever get rid of that banter requirement, just to sit next to someone physically, and have a bit of a chat, chin wag, complain about your partners, what you did over the weekend, etc. I don't think you could ever get rid of that. So they're looking at that option at the moment. So they'll have some sort of rotation system of who can be in the
Yeah,
office
yeah.
when. But they still want the London address for their business, so that's been good. In terms of other clients, some of them have been furloughed, so we've seen a reduce in pay-per-user customers.
Okay.
We've seen a slight delay in payments, but that's just purely because they're working from home. Some of them forgot their card readers, etc. The things that you don't think about that you use on a
Yeah.
daily basis. But otherwise, yeah, it's been business as usual, really. Projects have been put on hold, but that's because we either can't get there or it's inefficient to do it while everyone's working from home.
Yeah, yeah.
But they've been budgeted, they've been costed. So as far as I'm aware, they're going to be cracking on
Yeah.
later in the year. We've had
Okay.
a few projects over the last couple of weeks being approved, and we've got the go ahead for that. So migrations and office refits, etc.
Yeah, yeah.
Some of our customers have actually taken it as a benefit. They've taken the C-bills loan or the bounce back loan and
Mm-hmm.
actually bought a second office,
Yeah.
or a lease on a second office. So we were out at a local estate agents a couple of weeks ago, fitting their office because they're looking at expanding and taking a move into the market and going bigger.
So from where you're sitting, you can already see certain industries that are definitely looking for growth coming out of this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of B2C industries that are looking at growth. They're looking at how they can look at the market and expand within that. There are a few companies that I know are making redundancies, which is unfortunate. But
Yeah.
whilst the furlough, the C-bills, and the bounce back loans are all there, it's business continuing. They're in the events industry, so it's business continuing further after the furlough bits and pieces have gone down. So
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
they're central London landmark, so to speak. So they've got a very big, wide open space for events and bits and pieces. So
Okay.
it's
They're
unfortunate,
okay.
but I think everyone is expecting it.
Yeah. Throughout all of this, I've been mainly talking a lot about you might need to make some changes. You might need to come up with some different services or products that you didn't have prior to COVID that right now either will help you get through this or that you just need to create because that's what your clients need. Did you guys put anything new together from a product or service perspective or bring anything forward?
The only thing we brought in was a payment scheme for laptops and hardware and bits and pieces like that. So anything for a small amount, we've just covered ourselves
Okay.
and allowed the customer to pay over 4 or 5 months. Anything larger, we've gone to our preferred suppliers of finance and got them to provide the finance for that so that they can pay over 2-3 years,
Okay.
etc. So that's the only major thing that we've changed. We are, like I say, from the outset, any solution that we put in for a business has always got a remote working solution. So from that side of things, we've only increased licensing,
Okay.
and that's on a pay-per-user, pay-per-month solution. So depending on what happens, and we'll discuss this with all our clients, they may keep those licenses post-lockdown,
Mm-hmm.
so that people can work from home and they can, if they can expand their team without expanding the size of office, then they're going to make more money because they don't need a larger office, etc., and bits and pieces like that. So they can have a team
Yeah.
working from home, a team working in the office. Remote solutions in terms of doing your work face to face. We've supplied a lot of tablets so that users can fill out forms in front of people. They can pass the tablets over securely, etc. when they're doing home visits, because some of our clients are still in the medical profession.
Yeah.
So they need to go see people. They've just put tablets in place so they can answer questions.
Yeah. I was just going to say, from your industry, actually, what are you going forward? What kind of changes do you think are coming up? What's going to be the biggest thing for you guys?
I think the biggest thing is allowing our customers allowing people to work from home on a more regular basis. So at the moment, it's normally when your child is sick or something's come up. But I think a rotation basis is a lot of conversations that I'm having at the moment.
Okay.
And I think that will be fairly big. And I think a lot of people will now see the cloud as a positive rather than an unnecessary upgrade, so to speak, in some circumstances.
Yeah.
Because they don't need to go into the office, they don't need to reboot servers if they're in the office. And we've had a couple of people who've had power cuts, so someone has had to enter the office,
Yeah.
switch the server back on if we can't do it, and bits and pieces like that. So I think more people will be implementing some sort of solutions like that. But conversations are still slow at the moment. We will be having large conversations with our clients to see what they're doing as soon as we're allowed back within 2 meters of each other.
Okay. Any things? So when you look back at the last couple of weeks, what's maybe some of the things that you have been doing that, as we come out of lockdown now, you're going to stop? That you go, actually, you know what, for us, this isn't working, or as a company, this is something we're going to stop doing going forward?
I think a lot of it, we've seen that where we can't do something efficiently within an hour or two, we've said, right, we'll get someone to site, and we've got engineers all over London, so they can just pop to a client's site and do something remotely. I think actually the feedback from customers has been that I will sit there and help you, rather than some people just say, I'm not computer efficient or literate, so that we can't actually help you. You need to send an engineer out to site, etc. I think a lot less, engineer visits will be required,
Okay.
purely because people have the ability and patience to help. Maybe that is just down to lockdown now, but we'll see what happens in the next few months, maybe
Okay.
years.
Maybe yes. Any adjustments that you've made that you'll keep? I think you've already mentioned one around the sort of flexible working for the team, but anything else?
Yeah, flexible working. I really like the Zoom calls on a Friday, the team banter on a Friday. Whilst everyone may have to go home for childcare, etc., I think actually implementing Zoom calls. Also, we're having a lot more Zoom calls like this one with our clients, rather than traveling to London and maybe paying 50, £60 for a train ticket, etc. And having 1 or 2 meetings and traveling a lot, we can actually do back-to-back meetings. We probably get 8 hours a day, back-to-back meetings via Zoom. And if we've all got cameras, then we can all see each other and we can see facial expressions and bounce off each other at the same time. So I think a lot more meetings will be done over Zoom or Teams, for shorter meetings. For obviously the big meetings, they'll be still face-to-face. But I think Zoom will come into its own now, and Teams.
It's an interesting one, isn't it? Because prior to lockdown, you would think that in the industry that you're in, people would be quite accepting already to say, oh yeah, let's have a conversation online instead of face to face. But actually, it wasn't.
Yeah, when you're talking techie to techie, then if I'm talking to one of my suppliers, we can have a conference call and it's fairly simple. We can have a WebEx was the biggest thing prior to lockdown. And we can actually, but I think now customers are embracing it, and they've had to force themselves to use Zoom or Teams, and actually it's not as bad as they think.
Okay.
So when you're having a face-to-face meeting, it's the old age thing. You're meeting someone face-to-face. Yes, those meetings still need to carry on, but the general conversation meetings can carry on via Zoom or Teams. It's a great product, and it's increased its security, it's increased its efficiency. When we're all back in the office, I think internet connections will calm down a lot, because BT and Virgin have been at a very tight capacity at the moment, because everyone's working from home. You've got the kids and the iPads and the phones and everything, which has been a big issue. But our internet provider has not seen those, because they're not a small outfit, but they're still a big outfit, but they're niche to business, so business broadband as well. So I think that will increase to provide an efficient, effective broadband service at someone's house for business use, as well as utilising Teams and Zoom alike.
Okay. Anything specific that you're going to be doing differently or newly implement towards staff well-being now that people are coming back into the office? What are you doing to make sure that they're well cared for?
So we've got hand sanitizers. I'm just looking around the office now. Hand sanitizers, gloves and face masks all over the place. So they can use those, and we keep on badgering into the guys. If you have any symptoms at all, don't bother coming into work. You need to tell us, and then we implement the working from home solution.
Yeah.
When they're out on site, again, we've got gloves, we've got hand sanitizers, we've got face masks and overalls, if they, depending on the job that they're going to, etc. And we do ask the end customers. We've got a whole list of do's and don'ts with the end customer. So please stand 2 meters away. If you're going to show me something on your computer which I can't see, then you stand up, you move away. The other person comes in, and it's the whole big thing, rather than leaning over someone's shoulder, as you done several months ago.
Which most people find irritating anyway, so that's not a bad thing, right?
They find it irritating. The thing that I found on Friday, it was one of the first people I've seen really since lockdown. I said goodbye to the guy, and I went to shake his hand.
Yes.
Instantly, okay, I was wearing gloves, but instantly I withdrew my hand, because it's just a gentleman thing to do.
Yes.
And a polite thing to do, that you would just put your hand out to say goodbye, or even hello. At the beginning, hello bit was absolutely fine. I didn't put my hand out, but when you say goodbye, I went, "Oh, I'm really sorry." And he went, "Don't worry about it." The amount of times that he's done it, when he's gone to say goodbye to people, is incredible. And like, we're not shaking hands.
Shaking hands or hugging, and you know what I'm like. I'm the world's biggest hugger. Yeah, so I think I'm almost safer not going out yet, because I don't think I'd be able to stop myself.
Well, that's the thing with my family as well. So we haven't seen my mum and dad, or my wife's mum and dad, really without the 2 meter distancing. And their grandkids want to just go up, and straight away they just go, "Oh, nanny," and then they want to run towards them, and you just got to grab them and say no. Especially if they're older and they're a bit vulnerable. So
but also, like, your kids don't, they kind of understand, because that's what they've now learned over the past 12 weeks, but then they're too young to really have that sinking in, so their natural reaction is to go and hug nanny and granddad.
Well, that's it, exactly. And when we drove to the bank at the weekend, we had the sunroof open, and my son closed the sun blind and said, "Daddy, can the virus get in if the sun blind is closed?"
Oh, bless him.
Okay.
Okay.
So I explained it to him again, and he knows about the virus. My daughter, being a little bit younger, is she doesn't understand it, but my son does. Why he can't see his friends and bits and pieces like that. So they have brought in Zoom calls. I've actually think, from a personal note, I've seen over Zoom a lot more friends than I have done. When you're trying to organise something with someone, it's like, "Oh, what weekend are you free?" "Well, that weekend we're going out. This weekend we're going out."
Yeah.
We can do it in 2 months' time. Well, actually, you don't need to travel. You don't need to do all these things, and it's the same in business. You can just have a really quick half-hour Zoom call, FaceTime, etc., and just say, "Hi, how are you?" and little bits and pieces like that.
Yeah, absolutely. So actually, that nicely lead me on to one of the last questions I've got. What are you looking forward to the most to doing again when we're allowed to do whatever we want, from a business perspective, but also from a personal perspective?
I think it's We've got a little jam jar at home with items that we want to do. So the kids want to go to a theme park.
Okay.
We've been to the beach, which was good at West Wittering.
Yep.
That was social distancing beach. They had 30% capacity, which was really nice, and you had your little coned off area. So we ticked that one off the box. But I think it's just traveling, going somewhere, staying somewhere else. And so weekends at the moment are literally you stay at home unless you it's a necessity to go out.
Yeah.
And I think having that restriction lifted probably won't change me at all. I'd probably still stay at home. But when you're told not to do something, you want to do something even more.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
you
Okay.
find those excuses to go out. I've got to go to B&Q. This is an emergency. I've got to do this.
Of course, I have to get the paint.
Well, yeah, that's one thing
Yeah.
they're not selling. But
that shows you what I know.
well, yeah, it's taken weekends actually to say, well, I've got a lot more time. The kids are playing out in the streets at the moment. They're doing chalk on the roads and making their own little town, which is really good. So I've been looking at DIY and things like that I've been putting off for years, months maybe, that my wife keeps on telling me about.
Years, probably.
Years, yeah.
Years.
But it's doing those things. And now that mail order is a lot busier, you can actually go, right, today I've got to order this, this, and this for this weekend to be able to do the jobs. You can still get everything as long as you're efficient in ordering it. Amazon are doing an amazing job. Yodel, all those delivery companies that are delivering 7 days a week at the moment are doing an amazing job. All our deliveries have pretty much come on time.
Nice.
They're all social distances, so they leave them by the front door. They wait for someone to answer the door, and we take the package and they go away. It's really, really good. I think a lot more people are getting more family time over the weekends where they weren't so busy in their lives. And a bit more efficient at home, really. But
so I go back to my question. What's the thing that you look forward to the most doing again from a business perspective?
From a business perspective, it's probably just going out to see people. I like the face-to-face instances for the bigger meetings. Being more efficient within business is certainly going to help with Zoom and have those meetings so that we don't have to spend a huge amount of money on traveling, etc.
Perfect.
And for personal, I think it's just going to be traveling to go somewhere and staying somewhere else.
Yeah.
It's been hard on all family. We've cancelled all our holidays this year, so and moved them to next year. So hopefully we'll go on them. Fingers crossed.
Right. Last question. What have you learned about yourself throughout all this?
I like people contact. Is probably the biggest thing.
Did you not know that before?
I don't think I realised it before. When I was here pretty much on my own in the office, we got to like 2,000 square foot of nothing and desks and me on my own. I do like seeing people walking around and bits and pieces like that and the interaction. And my wife always says when I come home, actually, I know you've been alone all day today because you're bugging me. I just wanted that little interaction, maybe. I have learned that when I work on my own, though, I am efficient and I get a lot of more work done because there's no interruptions. But still having someone in the office, I think, is a big thing for me.
Okay, great one. Thanks for your time today, Paul. It was great to find out a little bit more about how you guys have coped, I guess, for a better word, throughout all this and what impact this has had. Keep going, keep the team happy and motivated, and just keep plugging away. You guys are doing a great job.
Thank you very much.
Thanks very much for your time.
All right, take care. Bye-bye.
Thanks.